Hello guys and welcome to today's Los Blancos podcast. Today we are obviously talking about the Man City game. Tomorrow, 8 p.m, Champions League nights return to the Bernabeu. And it's going to be a very, very tough game. We know this. Man City are not to be taken lightly, ever, to be totally honest, because they are a fantastic footballing side. As they have proved in recent weeks, the juggernaut that Man City are. They've just rolled over the Premier League. It looked like Arsenal were going to run away with it at one point during even February. We would say that Arsenal were absolutely dominating the Premier League, but it's come to the point where, Man City just keep winning games and, Arsenal just drop points at a rate at which Man City have just scooped up the league title in the final few weeks, and that's that. It seems like 4 weeks left. They're only a point above Arsenal, but it just seems like there's not a chance that Arsenal can recover. So at this point, they are looking for a treble charge, Manchester City. And you look at it and you would say they're pretty good for it as well. They've got the Premier League in their hands, one hand on the Premier League already. Then they've got the FA Cup final with Manchester United, and then they've got this which is their best chance to win the Champions League, I think, ever. To be totally honest, I think if Man City don't win it this year, I don't think they will win it, to be totally honest, because this is the year Erling Haaland comes. This is the year that Erling Haaland has scored over 50 goals. This is the year that they truly have the opportunity to just dominate everyone else in Europe, because, this Real Madrid side are not exactly the greatest Real Madrid footballing side. The other teams in Europe, Napoli are probably one of the best teams in Europe. They got scooped out of Europe by AC Milan. And then you look at Bayern, the Man City absolutely blitzed Bayern. PSG are just not at that level. None of the Premier League sides are at that level yet. None of the Serie A sides, apart from Napoli, as I mentioned earlier, are at that level. So this is Man City's best chance, because next season Real Madrid will come back and improve the squad, and there will be other players coming in for other clubs. So this is their best chance of doing it. And I think revenge is very much on their mind. Last season we beat them 6-5 on aggregate. That is painful if you're Manchester City, and that is a painful result, because they were good value for that win, for that final. Going to Paris, going to that final, they were good value for it. But Real Madrid took out of their hands in the last few seconds, in the last few minutes of that game, and Rodrygo inevitably scored those 2 goals, which was fantastic. It was so good, and you want something similar. But let's talk about what makes Man City so good, because at the start of the season they looked defensively shaky. Going forward, it looked like Erling Haaland was the only one who could score goals, and it looked like they were just dropping points at a stupid rate. It was just not looking good for Pep. And then in January they sold. They didn't sell. They're selling them. They loaned out Cancelo, and it looked like, well, they've got no fullbacks. The only fullbacks that remain: Kyle Walker, Rico Lewis, Sergio Gomez, and that's what they were left with. At the end of the day, they were left with those players that you looked at and you said, well, they've got no fullbacks now. They've got limited fullbacks anyway. And these players aren't exactly, Rico Lewis and Sergio Gomez, they're not exactly players you want to rely on if you get into a Champions League final, is it? Because they're young, they've got time to develop. So we were thinking, what's Pep thinking here? What's he doing? But he's found a way to almost completely lose, those fullbacks, but just develop a new formation. Like, out of nowhere, he's come up with this 3-2-4-1 formation. 3 centre halves, and then you got 2 defensive midfielders in front. And it, you would assume that the opposition wingers would have a fun time, but they don't. It's not like they're having good times of it. They're just not finding ways to get past Man City. Man City look more solid at the back than ever. They look better at going forward than ever. It looks a really dangerous side, Manchester City, right now. If we look at their predicted lineup, we'll go to we're talking about Edison in goal. Then you look at the 3 centre backs. It's going to be most likely Akanji, Ruben Diaz, and /Ake, if Ake's fit as Ake slash Walker. So we're looking at that as the back three. And then in the midfield two, you're looking at, Rodri and John Stones. And then in the front four, you've got, it's a difficult side, that Man City team. They've got a hell of a lot of depth in there. We've got Kevin De Bruyne, Jack Grealish, Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, and then obviously the big man up top. So that's obviously, you can see it's an imperious team, one that, you're going to be terrified of, because that back three, it functions so well together. They know exactly how to work it. When you're coming forward, you look at it and you say, well, they've all ultimately got 5 attackers in there, and then you've got two players on the edge of the box, picking out pucks, recovering all the balls. But then you go back and then you find a situation where, well, you're completely fine with it, because you've got 5 at the back, and then you've got more runners coming back as well with the Bernardo Silva and KD, Kevin De Bruyne, they're tracking back as well. So you're looking at a team that have got a suitable attacking overloads, but then defensively you've got numbers back as well. So it's going to be tough, isn't it, to break down this Manchester City team. It's definitely one that, it's a challenge. It's going to be a challenge for our attackers. You look at that back three, they will go out wide. Akanji and Ake know how to play the right back and left back role respectively. And then you've got the central centre back. They can tuck in, they can go out on the wide, and they've got the pace to do that. Ake and Akanji are quite quick players, and they've got the ball playing abilities to sort that out. John Stones and Rodri, both are fantastic ball players and fantastic defenders. They can both really, they can recover the ball and just distribute it well. And then you go forward, they've got such good technical players. Man City, Riyad Mahrez is danger and cutting in and going on the outside. Bernardo Silva, non-stop running, so silky on the ball. De Bruyne can find any pass. Jack Grealish, just a nuisance, constantly running at you. And then you've got Erling Haaland up top, which you've always got to factor for. And then you're looking at this team, and then you're saying, well, we're not going to stop them. I don't think this Real Madrid team is good enough defensively to stop Manchester City from scoring goals. So it's then the case of you've got to score more than them at the end of the day. That's the case you're trying to make. You're not going to stop Manchester City from scoring 2 or 3. You just got to score as many going the other way. And that's where I think Real Madrid have to find an edge, is in the attacking play. You've got to find a way to isolate Vinicius Jr. and his man on the right side, which is probably going to be Akanji. That's the way you're going to do that. And then you've got to find a way to isolate Rodrygo and then their left back, who, we don't know whether Ake is going to be fit for this game. If he isn't, that's a huge blow for Manchester City. And we don't know whether Ake is going to, we don't know whether Ake is going to play. So Rodrygo is going to have a different challenge on that right hand side, but he's going to have to relieve a lot of pressure, and he's going to have to step up for this one, because we know that Rodrygo can do that. So if I got into my starting 11, goalkeeper Courtois is going to have to bring out one of the best performances here. He's going to be peppered with shots. Erling Haaland's going to shoot. Erling Haaland's going to shoot. Also, others from Mahrez going to shoot. De Bruyne is going to shoot. All of these players are going to shoot, and they're fantastic at doing so. Gundogan, I haven't even mentioned Gundogan, but Gundogan's going to cause a huge problem as well. If he comes off the bench or if he starts, either way, he's going to cause a hell of a lot of problems because of his smart movement. And you saw this weekend against Leeds, he scored 2 goals where his movement was fantastic. And that's going to be a huge problem for us. We don't know how to counterattack that. And therefore, Courtois is going to have to face these shots, and he's going to have to do something similar to the Liverpool final last year, where he's going to be peppered with shots, but he's going to have to make those saves to keep us in this game. I could see us conceding 3 or 4 here at the Bernabeu. I could see that happening. It's very realistic. So I think it's just going to have to go down to the fact that we're going to have to just completely go bombard them on the attack, on the counter-attack. And then you look at our right back. Carvajal had a fantastic performance against Osasuna on Saturday night. He was fantastic, Carvajal. So, a similar performance would be required Dani Carvajal. And then the centre-backs, well, then you're looking at, no Militao, which, right now may seem like a blessing because he's had quite a bit of dodgy form. But ultimately, when you're marking Erling Haaland, it's going to have to be from, you have to stop his source. You're going to have to stop the source of assists, and that's KDB. You're not going to stop Erling Haaland. This is Rudiger's time to shine. We're going to have to see something special from Antonio Rudiger, because I don't think Alaba's going to have the ability to stop Erling Haaland. I think Rudiger's going to have to. He's the only one who can match up physically and athletically with Erling Haaland. It's difficult. It's difficult to It's always difficult to match up with Erling Haaland, and Rudiger's going to have to do that. So let's see what happens with Tony Rudiger, because we know that he hasn't had the best of first years. He's just trying to make it game by game. But this is a time to put in a statement performance where you have to keep Erling Haaland quiet. And even if Erling Haaland only scores one, even if he only scores one, I think that's a success, because then you can at least limit everyone else's goals as well. So let's see if we can keep Erling Haaland quiet. It's going to have to come down to Rudiger versus Erling Haaland, because I don't think Alaba's going to keep Erling Haaland quiet on his own. And then the left back, personally, I would go for Nacho here. Nacho has shown that the wingers he struggles against the traditional wingers that want to get to the byline and cross, Dembele, Chukwueze. If he comes up against wingers that like to cut inside, I think he does well. Mo Salah, especially, I think that's the type of winger he likes to play against. So I think this Riyad Mahrez partnership, pairing, even if it's Bernardo Silva, I think he could do well. And I think as a result, you can tell where I'm going to put Camavinga. Camavinga's a must start. I'm going to put Camavinga in the defensive midfield. I think Camavinga is too good to drop at this point, and I think we need a DM. We need a DM here, because we will absolutely. There's video evidence of what happened last season at the Etihad when we didn't have Casemiro. We got absolutely destroyed on the counter attack. We got completely split open, one or two passes, and then Cruz was completely taken advantage of, and that was the problem there. I think we have to have Camavinga here, because I think Tchouaméni right now is lacking confidence, and lacking confidence to make that ball, and we need that defensive presence as well. I think it's more important to have the defensive presence right now here, and we need someone who's comfortable and he's on form, and that's the reason that I don't play Tchouaméni and I play Camavinga. Another reason is Man City love the diagonal ball to the right winger, and if you play Camavinga there, he's going to get exploited by that, because he's not a natural left back, and I know Nacho's not, but he's more ready to counteract that. So I think Camavinga is not suited to this left back game here against Manchester City. I really hope Camavinga plays a CDM, because I think that's where he can impact the game with his ball playing ability and with his defensive ability. I think he can track the runners, and I think he's definitely able to match Kevin De Bruyne, which is the most important thing, is that you have to, and this is, you have to keep Kevin De Bruyne quiet, because if you keep Kevin De Bruyne quiet, that's 50% of City's creativity gone. That's huge. That is humongous. If we can keep Kevin De Bruyne quiet, you're never gonna stop City's creativity. I understand that, but you have to keep Kevin De Bruyne quiet. Otherwise, it's going to be an absolute rout on City's side. So we have to keep them quiet. And then in the midfield too, on the other, in front of him, you're talking about a situation, and we're going to group Rodrygo with here as well. You're talking about a situation where if we don't have Modric, we can't progress the ball. We saw that against Osasuna, we can't progress the ball. If we don't have Cruz, it's going to be a chaotic game. If we don't have Rodrygo, we don't have as much of an attacking presence. If we don't have Valverde, we don't have the energy in midfield and that ability to track runners. So you're in a deliberation where you're not really sure whether who to play. For me, I think in this game where you're not going to have control of the ball anyway, and you're not going to have the real ability to hang on to the ball as much, I think for me I would go for Valverde and Luka Modric here in the midfield. I would drop Toni Kroos, because I think you're not going to have the ball anyway. You're not going to be dominating the possession. Go ahead and hit them on the counter-attack with players that are more suited to that. Luka Modric can do more defensive work than Toni Kroos, and so can Fede Valverde, obviously. It's much more required, in my opinion, that you play these midfielders. And obviously, for me, I would go for Rodrygo on the right wing, because I think Rodrygo is too valuable for you to drop at this point now, because of that impact he can bring for you. And right from the beginning, play Rodrygo from the beginning, and you will do well. And obviously the other two, Vinicius and Benzema. Vinicius needs to get isolated on that left wing, and Rodrygo's going to help him with that by, you know, dragging the other defenders to his way. Vini on that versus his man, I think that could be very, very fun for Vini. Vini needs to have a big game here, because he cannot afford to you know, miss chances. Same thing with Benzema. We are a worse team than last year, because Benzema is not on the form he was last year. This is Benzema's opportunity to shine. This is Benzema's opportunity to show, you know, what he's been charging up all year for. This is his opportunity. Karim Benzema has been struggling in recent games. He's had some hat-tricks, obviously, but, you know, other than that, you know, he has been struggling in some games. He's been, you know, it's been very up and down with Karim Benzema. So I hope Benzema steps up for this game. Elsewhere, I think, you know, you've got to, there's obviously the case of Man City. They're a fantastic footballing side. No one needs to tell you that. But is it the Bernabeu? It's gonna be a tough game. We're gonna have to beat them here. I think we're gonna have to go into the second leg winning, because I'd rather have a counter-attack going against Man City. It's more of a counter-attack that you would be more comfortable with than trying to keep the ball, for me. I think we are a better team than Arsenal was. So, yeah, let's see what happens. I hope that Man City, you know, do struggle in this game. I hope that we play to the best of our abilities, because we know that we can do that. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough tomorrow night. It's going to be very, very tough. I'm the confidence. If I was to give you the percentages right now, I would go 60% Man City, 40% Real Madrid. I think we have definitely got an opportunity. I think Man City aren't invincible at this current moment, but it's going to take a lot from us. It's going to take a lot from us. We're going to have to keep Kevin De Bruyne quiet. We're going to have to keep Erling Haaland quiet. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little Man City preview. You know, no Sean today, obviously, as you can tell. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little preview. You know, didn't have time for much more, and you know, I think it would have been nice to have someone else here, but obviously Sean couldn't make it. So yeah, that's it. Obviously, if you want to follow Sean anyway, you know, he's the best account, Madrid account on Instagram, and you know, you can follow his Twitter as well, Real Madrid Committee on Twitter, at RMC Committee on Twitter, and Real Madrid Committee on Instagram. Obviously, the links will be in the description. Go follow. That's it for me. I think that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe as of always, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.